Hi, welcome to Chat Speaks, where I speak on things relating to politics, culture, faith, and just the end motivation. And today I have Joy Chen with me. Such an honor and a pleasure for you to be on my show. And before we get into this, please like, share, subscribe. If you think I'm doing a good job, if you think that these messages need to get out, please subscribe. Also, if you would like to support my work, you can go to my Teespring store. There's also a PayPal link. But today, what we're going to talk about is Proposition 16, which is a proposal that California is trying to put through that Joy is going to tell us about. But before we get into that, Joy, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you're a member of Blexit and that you're on the front line of this Proposition 16. So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for this platform. Thank you to everybody that's listening. It has been an absolute pleasure kind of getting to know you
Well,
over the last few months. And it was so random the way we met. It was on a mutual friend's Facebook thread. And just seeing that interaction between you and that guy, I was just like, I like this girl. I don't know who she is, but I like her. So I added you, and then the rest is history.
right.
But a little bit about what I do. I work from home, so that's why I have so much time to do so many random things. And this was also before COVID. I've been working at home, so nothing really changed for me there. But one of the things that I've really focused on, I can't seem to get away from the past ever since I was in college. That's when it first kind of started happening. Was I got really involved in politics. The reason is because politics, it's fun. I grew up talking about it with my family. Nobody agreed on most things, but like that's just the way we dialogue.
Right.
And then growing up, it was like nobody ever agreed with me because I went to an arts high school and I was conservative. I went to UC Berkeley and I was conservative. I started working in the tech industry and I was conservative. Now I'm living in Orange County where we're actually like purple. So it's just, I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But it's been awesome this year, like meeting Blexit, meeting this amazing group of people where we share so many values and so many deeper, it's a deeper connection than I think a lot of other people where we meet and we're like very superficial friends, or we just do like random activities, but nothing really substantial. It's been really awesome meeting Blexit members. This year's also because of COVID. So our California government has decided to pass some obnoxious laws, trying to change our constitution again. And that's how I got onto Prop 16.
So yeah, Governor Newsom. It just seems like with the COVID coming out that a lot of these people's inner
The
commie.
COVIDiocy is coming out.
Yes, like with Whitmer, with Como and De Blasio, it's like they just love power. And sometimes, like not living in California, living in Texas, where we're pretty much a conservative state, where we're like boycotting Abbott to say, hey, we are voting people, and you need to open up the state of Texas. But we laugh at some of the rules that y'all have, like as soon as you take a bite to eat, you're in the
Put your
restaurant,
mask
you're
back
supposed
on.
to put your mask back on. Y'all, Halloween's been canceled for y'all. Uh, y'all can't meet with have over like 10 people at your house or something like
But
that.
100 people can protest.
Right. And what was it him that said that singing you can't sing?
Yes. You can't sing. They did a study where English speakers, I guess we are the most prone to spreading COVID.
So what's the difference between singing and shouting? I just
You know what? I haven't gotten the rules from the top down yet, so I'm not totally sure. I think we only recently figured out exactly what constitutes a meal.
uh yes, that was y'all. Okay, I thought that was Cuomo. So uh
I told New Yorkers, I said, New York, like, please don't make any stupid laws because we're going to try to outdo you guys again.
well, yeah, y'all are almost there. Y'all are yeah, so a chicken wing does not constitute a meal, or I can't keep up with.
Yes. And it has to have like a certain number of sides or something like that. And I was like, there's certain cultures where they don't eat sides. Um, I don't think Indians eat sides really. Asian people don't really have sides. That's not like a real thing. We don't all eat green beans. I don't, it's just like so arbitrary. It's so arbitrary. And then all these mom and pop shops can't open, but like somehow we can have 100 people inside a Walmart fighting over toilet paper without masks.
So do you have to have masks even when you're like walking outside to like just walk down the street, or is it mean like you're on the inside of a building?
I think you're supposed to. In LA, like nobody doesn't wear a mask. So LA County is also much stricter than where I am in Orange County. But
Or
all of us are over
it,
it. I mean, they're yeah, they're doing that. But it's like, okay, there have been no studies that say you can get it again. So if you already got it, then you don't probably have to wear a mask. But people are like being Karens to say like, "Hey, you're supposed to wear a mask." Well, maybe I already got it. And then what are you
right.
going to ask? You're going to ask for my medical history. By the way, Democrats, you guys banned all of that under the HIPAA laws. So you outplayed yourself.
They usually do. That
You
they
can't create so many laws that they start contradicting each other. You
well
can't even keep track of your own freaking laws.
they do. I mean, even with like what's going on right now, you can't sing, but you can shout in the streets. You can't, like when the Lakers won, you can't have these huge gatherings, but now you can go out and celebrate the Lakers championship in
Well,
California.
we had our Brexit party on Saturday. So the health commission tried to shut it down.
No
And
way.
then, yes, they sent us a nasty gram. We said, look, it's faith, it's cultural. I mean, we're technically protesting Proposition 16. So, I mean, it's a protest as well. Like, I don't understand like where the violation is. So they actually sent a guy to come try to cite us. But we had the Pacific Justice Institute there, who was one of our speakers. So he was just kind of like, just it's private property. Don't let them on. They can't serve you if they can't get to you.
It's such a break. Is a lot of people don't really understand the underlining foundation of what's going on. In order to usher in a Marxism society, you have to get rid of free thought, you have to get rid of small businesses, and you have to get rid of religion, mainly Christianity, because Christianity, you know, goes to a higher power, that you kneel to no man, you only kneel to Christ, that there's absolutes in Christianity, and it's they want the government to be God,
Yeah.
and not little g but big G. They want people to rely on it, and having small businesses is dangerous to that society, because when you have small businesses, then you have power, you have freedom, you have free money, you're not dependent upon the government. So they want like a caste system. They want the elite, and then they want the, the people like in the White House, and then they want big business, big government, and then they want people to have to work in all of these industries.
Yep.
So I don't think right now that that is going to happen. I think that there's a lot of people that are rising up and fighting, just like you are. So tell us a little bit about what Proposition 16 is, and I'm going to link an article um, telling what it is in the description. But just tell us a little bit about what Proposition 16 is.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, talking about caste system, talking about how like Marxism, they can't bring people up, so they have to take people down.
Mm.
That's not noble. That's lazy.
It is. It is.
And Prop 16 does just that. So in 1996, we passed Proposition 209, which basically says the government, it was based off of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And what it says is basically the government cannot discriminate on race, gender, national origin when it comes to education, employment, and contracting. So essentially, what it did was it got rid of race based affirmative action. Now to kind of go back on affirmative action kind of came about, I think, in the 60s or something like that.
Mhm.
And it was during segregation, right? So when you're segregated, like you kind of need to force certain companies to bring higher on an amount of minorities.
Right.
I think back in the 60s, if I was alive, I probably would have voted for that. I
Yeah.
think that that's something you do need to integrate. But I, but now looking back so many years, it's kind of been a failed policy, especially in a state as diverse as California. And it's something that I don't think we need, because I think we need to move towards a race blind society, and we need to be helping people that need help. So, a little bit about me, I am actually not against affirmative action when it comes to helping kids that are socioeconomically challenged, that live in geographical areas where they don't have access to good education, things like that. I'm all for, men and women making the same amount of money for the same amount of work, like all of these things. None of those things are wrong. I am, however, against using race to determine how many points you need to score on an SAT to get into a school, to have these racial quotas, because that's the only way that they can really implement this, is if they do racial balancing.
Right.
Um, but the irony of it is, in the last 25 years, since we got rid of race based affirmative action, it's forced the government to actually have to look at the systemic issues of why certain minority groups have not been succeeding as well as others. It's created a lot of programs to help Black kids, to help Native Americans, to help Hispanics get into colleges. And that's awesome, because what we see now is higher graduation rates. Because it
Right.
doesn't matter if you get into college because of your skin color. We need you to graduate, because if you don't graduate, I mean, unless you're, like a Steve Jobs or like a Larry Ellison, which is great, but how many of those exist?
Right.
Um, you need to get that degree. And they have really, because they don't practice race-based affirmative action anymore, they've been able to help the graduation rates, because now those metrics matter. And then ironically, actually, when you look at the numbers now, Blacks and Hispanics are doing extremely well. We have achieved diversity in higher education. um, it's, in fact, in employment, I think Blacks are almost double their supposed representation. Black jobs matter. Like, why would you take a job away from a Black person because there's only, what, 5.6% of the population in California is Black, but somehow they have like about 10% of employment? Like, how is that a bad thing? Like, if they're qualified for the job, like, who cares like what color skin people have?
Well, as we all know, the left is they are fixated on identity politics, and they usually ended up overplaying their and being just totally lame, stupid. I mean, just making arbitrary rules. Just like, I mean, it's the bigotry of low expectation. If
It is.
you don't, like, it's like telling it, to me, it's so condescending to say that just because you're black doesn't mean that you can't achieve more because of your skin color. And a lot of time it is that it's the poor. Even if you grew up in a single parent household, there was a study I remember, and it said that if there's one person that motivates a child, just one, that child is more than likely to move forward in their life. They just need one cheerleader saying, you can do it, you can make it. And they do it. When I was I remember in my drug class in college, a teacher said that there was a student. He only went to one class. He skipped every class, and so the counselor called him in and said, "Why do you only go to this one class?" And he said, "Because they need me. I pass out the pencils. I pass out the books. I help pick up the papers when the class is over." So he needed to be felt needed, and he needed he found a mentor in that teacher, and that teacher helped him propel to go on to higher education and getting out of this drug life that he was in. But I just think that it's condescending to say because you're black that you can't make it, that you need our help. But what we need is better school systems. We need to tackle the school unions that keep in these teachers that are
Are
that
pedophiles that aren't doing their jobs,
right. There are some teachers that have been reprimanded that are
and
not,
you
they
can't
know
fire them.
they sit in a office and get paid and do nothing. It,
Yes. I'm
it's
so glad you're bringing that up, because people don't know that.
Yeah, it's the school unions.
Yeah.
It,
For every cop you say, oh, needs a body cam, which I'm all for body cams, every teacher probably should have a body cam too.
yeah, yeah. And then on the flip side, you have these, now they've made it. I believe it was Obama's law, and I think that it's been overturned, where even though these kids were being um, behaving wrong at school, being bullies and all that, that you couldn't suspend them because they were saying it was overwhelmingly Black children who were getting suspended. But there also has to be some accountability on a child's behavior, because one thing I can't get with is a disobedient, disrespectful child. And that's why, like, a lot of times at church, I was like, they're like, why don't you come work with the children's ministry? I'm like, see, y'all want to be friends with these kids. I don't believe in being a friend to children.
I
And
stopped teaching Sunday school at this very, very wealthy Newport Beach church. Okay. It was the pastor's grandson that was, by the way, white. Everybody's white. Hitting the teacher with a stick. And I was like, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. And it was the first time this kid had ever heard no in his life. I was like, this has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with, this is not even a socioeconomic thing. Okay. This is just like, like your family is like very well off. There's no reason for you to be acting like this. Like, this is just not okay.
oh yeah, I
And then I just quit because I was like, I can't do this.
yeah, I mean, I'm old school. I grew up in Church of God in Christ. I grew up in Baptist. I grew up where
Mm-hmm.
the church mothers wore the white gloves, and if you were chewing gum, they would hold their glove out, and you would spit your gum out. That we in church we had to work. We had to usher. We had to at the end of church we had to go in and clean up the church from and the people leave. And then if there was like a Sunday dinner for like the elders, we used to have to go in and we had to serve. So we learned how to serve. And that's my experience with church. Like when I was working in like the hospitality at church, I would see little kids with their feet up on the pew, and I'd be like, "Hey, get this is don't worry." And I would see little kids walking around. I'm like, "Does your mom know that you're out here?" Well, no. I said, "Well, let me go usher you back to your seat." So I'm very much like honor,
That's
respect.
awesome.
I still like I have older church women who reach out to me, and I still call them Miss Irma, Miss Beth, Miss. I'm just from that path, that old school.
Where are
And
you from originally?
Texas.
Okay, that's why. I was going to say that's so respectful. You must not be from California.
Oh no, I mean I grew up a little bit in California, but overall, my upbringing was Texas. And even
Yeah.
and I because we weren't allowed to say yeah, we weren't like to say what, we weren't allowed to say huh. It was yes, yes, ma'am. Like even now, when my children say yeah, I'm like what, and they're like yes. Or you don't call people by their first name. Adults, it's Miss Nancy,
Mhm.
Miss Karen, Mr. This or whatever, because I just don't believe that adults should be a child's friend. And I tell my
Yeah.
children, if an adult is trying to be your friend, you come let me know, because they have some bad intentions on there. So I'm very much about when we went to Washington. Some of them, when we went to the airport, some of the workers were just like on their phones, just rude. And so I needed help with something, and these two guys helped us. I said, you know what? Y'all need to be a little bit more friendlier. I said, where are y'all's customers? Y'all need to greet with smiles, with this. And they started laughing. And one of the guys was like, you must be from the South. And I said, yes. He said, I have family in the South. And he goes, it is very friendly. In the South,
Yes.
yeah, if we're coming out the airport and we're the first people that you meet, you should be saying, hey, welcome to such and such, with a smile on your face. Not like, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's
This
ridiculous.
was in DC.
Yeah, at the airport.
Yeah.
And
I used to live in Oklahoma. Everybody was so nice.
yeah.
It was like weird. Like I'm a terrible driver. Like some stereotypes are like real. I mean they're real. They're like super real. I accidentally cut this lady off, right? Because I was probably like thinking of something else. I mean, in Orange County, they'd probably like, follow me home and like kill my family. Out
Really?
there, she was just like waving, like, hi. And I was like, oh my God, she's gonna shoot me. But she
Uh,
was just actually just really nice. And it was so weird. Like,
really?
yeah, like Oklahoma, Texas, like pretty much the middle America and the South. Everybody's like, I very rarely have met mean people there.
Well,
Nobody's like rude.
Yeah, like when we drive down the street, even if you don't know anyone, there you get a wave. When me and my daughter go walking, you just wave. I mean, it's just customary. You just wave.
Here, like New York, you would just be like, "Oh, that's creepy." Or you like want to call the cops on them.
Yeah, I went to New York and oh my God, they are the rudest people. They if you accidentally stumble, they will run, walk, stomp over you. It's not like and my friend was like, you just gotta roll with it. You can't they don't care if you say you're gonna tell someone, they're just keep up.
You're
So
gonna
but yeah,
enable them.
I love Texas. A lot of people think that as soon as you get into the state line of Texas that you're gonna see the KKK hats greeting you and all that kind of stuff. And
First of all, isn't that in like Alabama or something?
well, I mean, we live in America. There are going to be people in every state, every city
Yeah,
that hold racist,
yeah.
ignorant thoughts. And being First
I'm
Amendment,
really glad actually Trump is condemning them as a terrorist organization.
yeah. But
Yeah,
the
it's
thing is,
about time. I can't believe no president has done that yet. That's ridiculous.
it is, and he's the only one that's done it. And on top of condemning white supremacists over,
So
and
he has condemned white supremacy.
yeah, I think so, like 15 times. But you know what? I think it's like 20 times is the charm. But it's funny that Biden memorialized Strawn Thurmond, Robert Byrd, which was the
Yes, he's the Grand Wizard, and he just got the freaking KKK's one of the white supremacy groups endorsement.
what was I can't remember his name,
What's the
but
guy's name? He kind of looks like a white supremacist.
yeah, but no one has ever asked him to denounce it. No one has ever
By
asked
the way,
him
he has said the N word, so I will say all kinds of words. I have no qualms with the English language. It's like I have no problem with any word except for the N word. It makes me cringe. I don't like hearing it in rap music. I think it's like uncomfortable. But outside of that, anything is fair game. But he said it one time in Congress.
Wait, he said it 17 times. It was 17.
He has said that word 17 times.
Yeah, in one setting. Yeah, I saw the video. And on top of, I'm supposed to be out there in the grocery store shelving his shelves so that he could stay in quarantine until the
Oh my
second.
gosh, yes. So I drove out to the store that day when he said that because I was like, what? Is this a thing?
I
And I
mean,
was like, oh, Orange County, all white. Nope. Okay, go.
he says the raciest, cringiest stuff all the time, and the media just shows it for him. And I have talked to Black people who are so far into Biden that it's just unbelievable. And I said, well, what do you think about him saying that if you have a
If you don't
thoughts
vote for him,
about
you
voting
can
for
black.
Trump, be Black, and they say, well, he's right. I'm like, what? So now you agree? It's sometimes you just can't make it make sense, and
It is a generational thing. Like Biden, I think he does come from a generation where like a lot of what he says is not that weird. And I'm willing to give him a pass for a lot of that. But the issue is Trump is from the same generation though. But
yeah.
Trump's not like that.
No, but the media portrays him as being what he is. But like we were talking about earlier, Karl Marx said to accuse, in order to manipulate people's ideas, accuse them of what you're already doing. And that's
Yeah.
what they do. Like all this collusion, all this China work, it's them. Hillary Clinton. She went in half on the fake dossier with another person to implicate Trump. It's all of them. Like
Yeah.
it's
They
just
call him stupid and then somehow he's able to mastermind this entire international operation. Like
it's
it doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't. They don't make sense. It's like okay, and sometimes I try not to call people names, but some people are just ignorant um and ignorance is not bliss. And some like there's people on my page now I don't even comment with because I told him I say you're not even worth the energy. You're just gonna reply back with some stupid meme that says Trump is a clown or this or that or whatever. And and I've offered to debate him, this one guy on my page. He will not come on my debate.
No, yesterday I was talking to this guy and he was telling me how terrible Trump was and all these things. And I was like, I want to hear like why Trump is so bad. And I want to have that discussion because I don't think he's perfect. There are a lot of things that I can criticize on policy, on this or that. But like, I want to hear what his thoughts were. And he was just going off about how like Trump's a racist. But these are all feelings. There's no factual, like, give me exactly like what he's said or done that has made you feel that way.
Right.
Um, like this year, people say, "Oh, he hates Asians," and I was like, "I don't think he hates Asians. I don't think he like really. We're not a big demographic. I don't even think he like thinks about us. I think he's very focused on the Black community right now, which is great because I think if we fix a lot of those issues, we're going to fix a lot of issues for Americans as a whole.
Yeah.
Because it's the same concepts. But I mean, like I hate to say it, like Asian people for the most part are doing like fairly well. Anytime he does anything for small businesses, a lot of us are small business owners. Like I find that like that's great. You don't have to cater to a specific group of Asian people. And people are well, they'll say like, oh well, he calls it the China virus, and I was like, yeah, it's factually what it is. It's a virus from China. We call it the Spanish flu. We called it, I don't know,
Ebola
like
from
all.
the river in Africa.
And I'm like, it's just factually what it is. I mean, do I kind of wish he would just call it the Wuhan virus because that's specifically where it is, in case another virus comes out of China, so we're not confusing the two.
Right.
Like,
Right. Because this is like the third one that's came out of there.
yeah, like,
So let me. I've never heard that he hated Asians. That's a new one. That's a new
oh,
one.
people always say, oh, like he's so racist towards Asians and he hates Mexicans. I was like, I don't think he does. I mean, when he was he was calling them rapists, he was calling MS-13 rapists,
Yeah.
and they are though.
Yeah.
Mexico does not like MS-13.
I have a friend from El Salvador, which they come from, and she said they are the most evil
They are the
demonic
worst.
group that there is, and everyone in El
The
Salvador
blood
is
the
crazy.
Crips seem like child's play.
Yeah, and you know who the MS-13 in Long Island who they target? Black people. They do not like black people. But after Trump came out and said that, guess who I heard was supporting them? Like, oh my God, black people. I'm like, do you know that they just killed a Long Island a 13-year-old black girl and her friend with a machete with
So bad.
so
Bad.
but we all know anything that he says is good is bad. Sometimes I say maybe he should say good and see
Yeah,
what
he
and
should just mess with them. I was like, so actually, the reason why I couldn't talk to you yesterday was because I was at his event in Newport Beach.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so he came and spoke to us.
Oh, you got to see him?
Yeah. Well, it was
So
small. It was like 1,000 of us, but it was awesome because it was everybody there. I mean, there were Vietnamese people because I can tell by their the hats they were wearing and their names. There were Chinese people there. There were white people. There were black people. I mean, the guy that everybody wants to have run for the two guys actually that people really like for governor right now in California, both are black.
yeah.
Like, it's not, we don't, nobody cares anymore. We care about like what your policies are. We care about like what your ideas are. Why are we regressing? Why are we going back to segregation? And like
What
this entire Prop 16 fight, our so the president of our board is Ward Connerly, who's black. It's like he doesn't like to make it an issue because he's like, I don't like, my skin color is not who I am. It's part of my culture, I guess, but it's not like I'm not determinate on because of my skin color. I have to be this way, this way, this way. He was a former UC regent, which is an amazing role, and I think he was a successful businessman as well. And then they were attacking back in 1996. They attacked his wife for being white, and like all these things. And I was like, I don't think he cares that she's white. I don't know. He probably just thought she was cute. I have
well,
Asian friends that only.
people are so obsessed with race. And so yesterday, well, so I saw on YouTube a people lined up in Newport,
I'll
and
send you some of the videos.
yes, I saw the videos. I mean, it went on for miles and miles and miles, and it wasn't just white people there. There was actually what
The
I was
Biden people were all white people, though.
the who
The
the
Biden. people were all white people.
Right. Yeah.
Every time because I was standing in line and these Biden people just kind of come up and like try to harass us, and I'm like, go away, white people.
Right.
Stop white splaining.
Right. Right.
You
They're
want
like,
to color? Let's talk about color.
well, they're like, let me tell you how you were oppressed. Let me tell you how we can save you. But I mean,
Okay,
these
white
are
Jesus.
like
Like,
the Armenian people were there for Trump's, and they were like, I guess there's like some type of conflict over there,
yeah,
with Turkey,
Turkey.
or
Yeah.
yeah, but Turkey's also having a conflict with China.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like a whole bunch of stuff
By
going.
the way, all minorities also hate each other. We just all convince white people that they're the only racist.
Right.
Just like the MS-13 thing. I mean, like I have Asian friends who like love dating black guys because
Hmm.
they think they're hot, and I was like, okay, I've been pretty white bread my whole life, but to each their own, like it's all a preference, whatever. But their parents will like freak out. My parents will freak out with like because my boyfriend's white. Um, and then his parents are like super nice because they are white, and they're like, yeah, we're like we don't care and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, my parents kind of care.
So let me ask you, being Asian, what is expected of you in society?
People think that we're supposed to be quiet, that we're supposed to be engineers or doctors, that we're supposed to be like very delicate, I think, in a lot of ways. And I don't check any of those boxes, unfortunately. So sorry to disappoint, world. Yeah, like for a long time, and the reason why a lot of Asians are also liberal is because they've been following the NAACP. Because, and don't get me wrong, like the Black civil rights movement is so important. It is very different from any other group. Like we've all had the Chinese Exclusion Act to Japanese internment camps. Like we've all faced like some kind of discrimination, but I don't think any of us were um, kind of faced the type of segregation and slavery that the Black community has, and that is very unique. Um, but they have latched onto this, and now like what we're 150 years past the Civil War, and like Asians are still somehow holding on to the NAACP for everything in the 60s and 70s, and it's I'm like, okay, first of all, our struggles are not the same, our issues are not exactly the same, and Asians can have their own voice without being like a mouthpiece for just crazy leftists.
Well, you know the NWCP was started by five white people.
Of course it did. So the NAACP and Antifa basically had the same origins.
Well, the way it was is that it's like with the Black culture, anytime they wanted to interact change in the US or society, they infiltrate the Black culture. And so they needed to find out what was going on in the Black culture, in the Black society. So they started the NWCP. And that's why Malcolm X said that if the Democrats claim you for a chump and you vote Democrat, then you are a traitor to your race. He understood, and he was killed 2 days after he said that. So it's just crazy. Like, I mean, you told me that you went through a little bit of time where you were trying to discover your love for yourself and trying to just find your identity. And I think that that's what a lot of people do. They're trying to hook onto something that gives them value, that gives them meaning. And a lot of people have hooked onto BLM or Antifa. Wait, Antifa is my idea. But
Antifa doesn't exist.
what was Antifa? Was it the guy because there was this black guy at some pro freedom rally or something. I don't know if it was in California who got hit in the mouth and his tooth got knocked out. Was that in California?
I think that was LA. Yeah. The number of black people that have been hurt by white people because of from BLM and Antifa is ridiculous. There was the guy that was shot in Minnesota.
Is that the one
Like
who got in the face or the chest? I mean, there's been several of them that just because they supported Trump, they've been killed.
and it's like, okay, so you're now a white person that is trying to be anti-racist and killing black people because you're anti-racist. I
It
like that meme right now. The lead trying to do math. Like,
it doesn't make sense. It's like
good.
I being a black person, I have a video that talks about my experience with BLM. They it was black people who looked at like me, told me that I was a coon, that I was a house in, that threatened me with a gun. If it wasn't for the police being there, I don't know how it would have ended. And it was scary. It was scary. It's scary. And one thing I like about being on the conservative side is that although we, like you said, we may not agree with everything, we're still going to support each other, love each other. The way that it was last week, and I wish you would have been able to come. It was such an overwhelming spirit of love and fellowship. And I did hear that some people left there with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So, which is the best part.
What? What?
Yeah,
Okay, we need to be doing a show on that. Sweet whatever
right.
I have to say.
Blessed and
No, that's
love.
what we need to go find out. That is so cute. Okay, so I don't know. Did you see the baby for Trump?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, first of all, his mom is like beautiful. And then they have this baby. This baby is like adorable. I will send you the photo. It's like so creepy that I have it, but it is the cutest baby. I mean, I'm not a huge kid person, and very rarely will I see a kid. I'm just like, this baby is so cute. And it was like a mom, a dad, and a baby going to see the president wearing MAGA hats. And I was like, this is the biggest threat to the left right now.
It is. And that's why they tried to say that we were paid, that we had to sign non-disclosure. And if you notice, when the news people tried to panel who was there, they only put white people. They didn't show like the
Oh,
sea of black people and Hispanic people and Asian people that
yeah.
were there. So
Yeah.
it's great because they cannot let the narrative slip that there are actual people that are not white that support this president.
Yeah.
So
There are a lot of people. It's not even that they're, because I know, so I had a friend that actually, he's gay, so he literally said this. He's like, I'm gay, so I thought I was supposed to be a Democrat. But then because of coronavirus, he's starting to see these inconsistencies in the media's narrative of President Trump, of like just different policies. He's like, and I don't know that he's like ready to be a Trumper yet and wear a MAGA hat. But he was, one of the things he said was, he was like, did you know black people are Republicans? And I was like, so I messaged him. Well, first of all, I commented hashtag walk away.
uh-huh.
And then I messaged him and I said, like, I see you're getting like a lot of hate, mostly from like white liberals, but there is a community out there and you can observe it. You don't have to like partake in it. But like between Blexit, and I added him to the Blexit group. I don't know if he joined. But and he was reading all the walk away stories. He was like, this is amazing. And I think he had like this epiphany of just the media has been lying to everybody. They called that event dark and divisive, and they said it was. And I was like, was that a dog whistle? Is that racism? Like, why would you
It's
guys? That's an interesting choice of words.
it
And
is.
then they said there were only 400 people there, and I was like, probably 400 of my friends alone went.
It was thousands. It was at least I they said the from the White House it check in it was 1,700 people. And that was just at the, I mean, it was a sea of people. And you just see, I mean, it was just so nice to see people walking around, smiling. Hey, how's it going? I mean, there was nobody there scowling. Except
No looting.
no looting. There was one guy when we were walking, about to go march. He had a sign up that said something like the White House was built by slaves or something, but we just walked by him. I mean, and there was this one guy banging a pole. I mean, but it was peaceful. But I have to say that I think that BLM and a lot of people didn't come because it was a very heavy police presence.
Yes.
It wasn't. I don't know. Like at the RNC, I don't understand why they have a heavy police presence there. I guess they just didn't think that people would be be like that, like attack people. And I was listening to Rand Paul. He was saying that a lot of the BLM people were staying in like this hotel, and I saw it in Washington when we were there. It's like one of the most expensive hotels there, and that's where the BLM people were staying. So but Joy, thank you so much for being on. Tell people who are in California how they can get involved. I know that this is on the ballot for November the 3rd. How can they get involved? How can they find out more information about it? And is this on the ballot for all of California or just
Yes. So it's all of California. It's a statewide ballot initiative. Vote no, pretty much vote no on everything except for 20 and 22. And I'll send you the one pager that you can post, and just tell friends about it, because one of the most amazing things with our campaign is the grassroots effort. It really is. People care about this issue and they're telling their friends. People are disgusted by what's going on right now. People feel so divided. So our campaign slogan is actually "Don't divide us."
oh,
And yeah, we need to stand united. We need to unite against just like the further destruction of our society. It's a
exactly.
step backwards. It is actual systemic racism.
Right.
Um, and it's completely discounting everything that minorities have achieved, I think, in the last 25 years. So we need to stop it. Vote no.
So if people want to talk to you and ask questions, where can they reach you at?
I'll send you my email that you can
Okay,
post.
send my
Yeah.
email and send me the information on 20, and I haven't heard about those 20, and you said 22.
22. That's the Uber one. So on January 1st, everybody that's a contractor lost their jobs in the state.
Oh,
That's why I think our unemployment rate is much higher than any other state, because it's not just COVID. It's all the contractors, everybody that was a translator, that was working part-time for Google. Everybody lost their jobs, and it was very heavily minority and women that lost jobs. So that sucks. People should have a right to work.
I agree. I agree. That's why there's a huge exodus out of California right now, especially San Francisco.
Well, yeah, because the place smells like pee. I used to live up there, and that was the first thing I remember about San Francisco. Was I was like, this place smells like pee. What happened to standards?
Right, right. All right. Well, Joy, thank you so much. Please, people watching this, if you live in the California district, if you have friends that live in California, reach out to them. Let them know what's going on. That there is a referendum of civil rights, of rights being taken away on the ballot, and to vote no for Proposition 16. Joy's going to send me her contact information in case you want to know some more information about it. And remember, share, like, and subscribe. And again, Joy, thank you so much.
Thank you.